Before there were stadiums, before there were billion-dollar clubs and screaming fans, before the World Cup turned the sport into a global religion, there was just a ball. Or rather, there was just the idea of a ball, something round, something that could be kicked, chased, fought over. Long before the word football was ever spoken, humans were already kicking things for the sheer joy of it. Imagine it, a dusty street in ancient China, nearly 2,500 years ago. Soldiers practice a game called kudu, kicking a leather ball stuffed with feathers through a small net. Far away in Mesoamerica, on stone courts under a burning sun, the Maya play a sacred ball game where losing can cost you your life. In ancient Greece, young men kick and throw a ball in a game called episkuros, a brutal mix of sport and brawl. There was something primal about it, this need to kick, to compete, to turn play into ritual. But the game that would become football, the world's game, truly began to take shape in medieval England. Here it was wild, chaotic, almost lawless. Once or twice a year on feast days like Shrovetide, whole villages would come together for a single match that was more like a riot than a sport. There were no teams, not in the way we know them today. There were just two sides, one end of the town versus the other. The ball might be an inflated pig's bladder, roughly stitched together, slippery and foul-smelling. The goals, sometimes the doors of the church, sometimes the edge of a field, sometimes just a distant tree. The game would begin with a shout, and then chaos. Hundreds of men, sometimes women too, would swarm through the streets, kicking, punching, grappling, doing anything to move the ball toward their side. Windows were broken, carts overturned, fences trampled. There were no referees, no rules beyond get the ball to your end. It was so violent, so destructive that kings tried to ban it again and again. In 1314, King Edward II called it a great noise in the city, a distraction from archery practice, and ordered it forbidden. But the bans never worked. People loved the game too much. The ball kept rolling. For centuries, this was football. Raw, bloody, dangerous, and local. But as Europe changed, so did the game. The Industrial Revolution brought factories, railways, and a new kind of society. People moved into cities, time became structured, and leisure, for the first time, had to fit into working hours. Football began to evolve from a wild mob game into something more organized. In the early 1800s, English public schools like Eton, Rugby, and Harrow began to play their own versions of the game. Each school had its own rules. At Rugby, you could pick up the ball and run with it. And yes, that is literally how rugby football was born. At other schools, using hands was forbidden, and you could only kick the ball, the version that would become modern soccer. But this created a problem. When students from different schools met to play, no one could agree on the rules. Was handling the ball allowed? Could you hack at your opponent's shins? Was there an offside rule? In 1863, something historic happened. Representatives from several clubs met at a tavern in London, the Freemasons' Tavern, to settle the matter once and for all. After heated debate, they drafted a set of rules that banned handling the ball and hacking opponents. This was the birth of the Football Association, the FA, and with it, the birth of modern football. For the first time, there were clear rules, a shared understanding. The game spread quickly across England, carried by railways and embraced by factory workers who found in football a passion that united them. Soon, clubs were forming everywhere. Sheffield, Notts County, Aston Villa, and competition began to take shape. By the late 1800s, football had leapt beyond England's shores. Sailors, merchants, and engineers took the game abroad, to Argentina, to Italy, to Africa, to India. Wherever they went, the game took root, sometimes faster than the British themselves. And then came the moment that turned football from a pastime into a global force, the first FIFA World Cup. Held in 1930 in Uruguay, for the first time nations gathered to decide who was truly the best. Uruguay, the host nation, triumphed and football fever began to sweep the globe. From there, the sport only grew, uniting nations, sparking rivalries, becoming a language everyone could speak. From the streets of Rio de Janeiro to the slums of Lagos, from the beaches of Spain to the frozen fields of Moscow, the ball kept rolling. Football was no longer just a game. It was an identity. It was resistance. It was hope. During wars, prisoners of war played it behind barbed wire. During revolutions, kids kicked balls through ruined streets, and every 4 years, billions watched as the world's best players stepped onto the pitch to chase glory. So how was football born? It wasn't born in a single moment or in a single place. It was shaped by centuries of play, by kings who tried to stop it, by students who argued over rules, by workers who turned their Sundays into match days. It was born from the simple, irresistible joy of kicking a ball and seeing it fly. From the chaos of medieval villages to the order of the modern pitch, football has always been more than a sport. It is the game of the people. It belongs to no one and to everyone. If you love uncovering the hidden past, the battles, the rebellions, the origins of the things we take for granted, then join us. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's keep exploring history together, one incredible story at a time.
This was a brave attack by Gauvin. Collided with the goalkeeper. She didn't know much about it. There is going to be a VAR check. You can hear the wolf whistles around the stadium. They're checking for a foul, I'm presuming. She is going to have to make a big decision here in front of a home support. No goal. Gauvin's goal is chalked off and it remains 0-0, and that is judged to be a foul on the goalkeeper.